What's up, guys? Mikey in the building. Hope you guys had a great day today. Small caps this week. I think there was still a lot of great opportunity. A lot of these days, though, and even for maybe the past couple weeks, it's basically kind of hit the mornings. Um, you got that open market volume. It maybe lasts for like an hour and then it dies off. LIDR today was actually kind of great. This one set up all day and then finally squeezed towards the end of the day. So it was a nice power hour run. Um, it was a good play. I'm gonna go over it. This one was really good. I did get chopped up a little bit over here, and that's just because I just kind of oversized into these levels. Like I wasn't able to get a good soak, so I kind of hammered it, and then it would come right back down on me, and then I'd stop out. Particularly since I didn't soak well down here, I kind of added it into this flag, and then it dumped, and I was like, oof, okay. But that was okay, right? The structure on this one was actually pretty well. When I look at overall structure from after hours leading into pre-market, even this little 4 a.m. pop, it wasn't a lot of volume, right? 70,000, 76,000 on that. The structure on this to me is very like it was more over consolidating, like a consolidation structure. Even this right here, this is all very light volume. And then when you kind of look over into here, volume starts to kind of pick up around 0800 and then 8:15 in the morning Eastern time. And then you kind of see some ramping volume into here and then more light volume. It's kind of pulling back again. 177 was a key level on this one, okay? Daily wise, all right, 177 was the high volume day for 321, right? There's a little ceiling right here, which should become potentially a floor. So 150 was great, and that right there, you're going to see this kind of hold in 150. So that was actually a really great ad. It's just, soaking wise, I just didn't get a good soak right here. Averaged into this a little bit and then averaged up, and it was like if I would have just held that average and kind of watched this and see how it reacted, I would have been a little safe and then rather than getting dumped on. But there's a couple of really good areas right here, okay? Once I started to see this soak right here, right, and then it happened again right here, okay? We basically had three stuff candles happen on this one with no follow through to the downside, okay? All right. This area particularly was really great right here. This was a nice breakdown zone that failed. So you could have, draw your box, run it out. I'm just going to extend this one out really quick, keep it red. This was a nice soak area. Of course, you could bring it down here to 160s. So, if you do bring it down to 160s, now you got your little soak box that's a little bit bigger. So I started particularly soaking and was able to catch a better move off this once I started seeing it holding and maintaining and consolidating above this area, right? The reason why I thought this was really good is because it reclaimed this big stuff right here, high volume, okay? Then when we had this big stuff down here, this no longer was in this area, all right, particularly this area, even after this stuff breaking down, okay? So to me, that was super, super important. Now, when you look at the book on this one, down here, all right, here goes the morning. This was that first stuff right here where it flagged. This was unfortunate. There was just a lot of liquidity at 180. Okay, remember 180. 180 super important because this book flips later on. It just had no follow through, and unfortunately, this, when you spread this out, there wasn't a big appetite to remove this liquidity and continue this consolidating, and this is where that first dump came from, which, this was starting to flag. There's a little bit bidder there. That bidder got sold into, and it came down and retested these 160s. A seller got absorbed right here, and then it started to consolidate, and then we had that new 160 bidder. This 160 bidder stuck, okay? There's plenty of times where they started to sell into this right here, and they added, right? They sold into it. There was no follow through. sold into a little bit more right here, tried, and then again right here, this was really great because they actually this was phenomenal. They sold into this bidder right here and then immediately sweeped it. So this looked like this was about to crack, and then some aggressive buyers came in here and sweep this. So maybe someone got filled right here, right? Because this is a passive order. Someone was willing to buy this at 160s. 160s got sold into right here, and they immediately sweeped it. So this was actually a great one right here. Then it pulled back and consolidated above 160s. This is the reason why I started to soak 160, and then I started to take 166s on this as well. I did average up. I ended up having a 171 average, particularly once I saw these areas hold right here on the book. And you know, whatever kind of candles, it's the same candlestick pattern right here, you know, if you're looking at your chart. But once I saw these areas kind of hold and consolidate and not break down again, I started to average up on this one. Now remember, 180s from prior, 180s was pretty much strong the whole entire time. All right, this is where they book flipped it right here. This was really nice. This was actually insane because no matter what, right, when you're watching this and you're looking at the current order book, you're seeing how heavy this is. They have a lot of offers on the book, right? So there's a lot of liquidity from 180 to $2 on this book. And then once this book flip happened, once they removed the liquidity at 180, someone threw in a nice 100K bidder, basically 94,000. Once that happened, it was like an instant Paris squeeze. This literally swept this whole entire liquidity from 180 to $2, and there was a lot of liquidity, right? There's probably you know, over 160,000 shares sitting at 180 to $2, and this doesn't count what ARCA and those other exchanges have. So that was great. That was phenomenal. This thing pulled back, consolidated again, and squeezed up to 250. That was a really great trade on that one. Later in the day, okay, later in the day, I only caught 240s up into that halt. I needed to get better trading this over here, and seeing this type of setup. I went out for lunch, and I wish I would have saw this because, you know, that 180 bidder stuck on the book. You know, they never left, and there was some really great higher lows on this book over and over and over again. You know, this really traded. You know, if you see this right here, you know, this was really great. All this did was put in some higher lows. Never really broke down. And, you know, it was weird. It was like trading like a large float. It was very liquid on both sides. Didn't break down. And this was a particularly strong area. Kind of look on the 5. Keep it a little simple. You know, if there was any shorts right here, shorting against this, especially because on the book over here, there's liquidity that I couldn't break out of, especially at 240s. Right, 240s was pretty obvious right here. Right, so anybody shorting this and looking for an all-day fade, you know, maybe there's some people stuck right here. And then again, once this popped up and gave you that lower high, and they sold into that bids looking really weak. So there was a couple areas on here, and then even this liquid right here. This was key to me. This was key right here because this is like, you know, a controlled offer, right? So someone had a nice 180,000 right there, and they pulled it. So when this started to squeeze up, put in some higher lows, and retest that area, right? This wasn't breaking down. So this was really nice to see, utilizing the book and seeing this. 240s to me was a big area, and I actually slapped that, caught slippage, got 247s. Because once this started to go, I mean, this just like went like literally snapped. So, yeah, so I traded that. Didn't take a lot of size on this, but it was nice to get caught in that hole and then scale out over $3 on that one. So overall, really great trade. I know these guys have earnings coming up on next week, Tuesday. So there's a lot to learn from this. Definitely need to get better at soaking again over here rather than slapping a level up here, because, you know, this could have knifed too as well. But there was just a lot of volume built up into this levels, and these were some key levels And these controlled walk downs that they have right here are also key. So 240 was key. And, you know, as you can see right here, as soon as this chewed through that 240, this squeezed the 250, pulled back, and then straight up halted. So that was really nice. One thing to really pay attention to is that, you know, as this is grinding and putting in some higher lows, there's not a crazy amount of appetite on the best bids. All right. It's a lot different than when you see it over here, right? There's more appetite on the best bids, and you can see them selling into it. Less appetite on the best offer. You know, this red line's best offer. This is the best bid. You know, so you can definitely see the shift, right? From when this started to pull back, there's a lot more appetite on the best offer, less appetite on the best bid, and you see the characters actually change. So, you know, and sorry, more appetite on the best bid, and then less appetite on the best bid over here. So the selling did definitely decrease, and then they throw in these bids right here, help catch it, another bid right here, and a bid right here. These are some really important things to look into as this is pulling back, putting in some higher lows, and you know, coming up with a thesis and a particular trade for that. Great week. This was a good one. You know, there's a couple other names going on right here, but you know, yeah, biggest takeaway for me is to make sure, you know, next time is out of the open to really keep the 150s. You know, seeing this not break down here was a reason why I added, and then I should have just stayed away from this flagging right here, but that's okay. A big lesson learned, you know, for me on that one, and then really just, you know, the biggest thing is to stick with the trade, right? You make a mistake and that's okay, and then going back to it and being able to capitalize on it, yeah, afterwards, right? The book is phenomenal. To seeing all this stuff happen live time, see how they, you know, auction the price, see how they react to offers, and how they react to the bids, right? That's one of the cleanest things that I see a lot now is, you know, when you see higher liquidity, that's obvious. Sometimes it's a good idea to sit here and see how things react when they pull into them or break out of them, right? But all right, guys, much love. Peace out, Mikey.